Hello everyone, and welcome back to MoneyPulsar. For decades, diners were an American institution. You'd find them everywhere. Small towns, along highways, on the edges of cities. People didn't really plan to eat there. They just stopped by on their way somewhere else. But today, if you drive those same roads, you'll see many of them are closed. Their signs faded and windows dark. It's not because people stopped eating out, and it's certainly not because the food suddenly became bad. Something fundamental around the diner business model changed, and diners just couldn't keep up. So, what exactly happened to this piece of Americana? Let's break it down and find out. Stay tuned. Have you ever wondered why those classic, shiny diners popped up all over the place? It wasn't just about good burgers and milkshakes, though that definitely helped. The real secret to their success was something much simpler: predictability. For a long time, daily life ran like a well-oiled machine. People had set routines. They traveled the same roads to work in the morning and took the same routes back home in the evening, day in, day out. And what did you find perfectly placed along these predictable paths? Diners. These places were genius in their simplicity. They didn't need flashy billboards or expensive TV commercials. Their advertising was the steady stream of people passing by every single day. The owners kept things lean. The menu wasn't a novel. It was short, sweet, and full of things they could cook quickly and consistently. The spaces themselves were often small and efficient, which kept costs down. This wasn't some faceless corporation. The owner was right there, often behind the counter, flipping pancakes or managing the register. They knew their customers, their orders, and their stories. A good diner operated like clockwork. As long as people kept to their daily routines, the diner kept running, serving up hot coffee and a friendly face. It's a powerful lesson in business, really. When you can count on your customers showing up regularly, you've got a recipe for success. That was the magic of the American diner. A business built on the steady, reliable rhythm of everyday life. What are your favorite diner memories? Let me know in the comments below. What happened to the classic American diner? You know, the ones with the neon signs, checkerboard floors, and a jukebox in the corner. For a long time, they were the heart of the American road trip. But then, things started to change. Not inside the diners, but all around them. The biggest shift was movement itself. The interstate highway system began to crisscross the country. These new, massive highways were designed for speed and efficiency, redirecting traffic away from the small towns and main streets where the diners thrived. Suddenly, cars weren't passing through towns anymore. They were passing around them, over them, completely bypassing them. The local diner, once a beacon for hungry travelers, became invisible. It wasn't that the food got worse or the coffee lost its kick. The quality was still there. The problem was, you couldn't see it from the highway. Your journey no longer led you to its front door. At the exact same time this was happening, our options for eating exploded. The drive-thru was born, offering a new kind of convenience. Fast food chains popped up everywhere, promising a predictable meal in minutes. Later, food delivery apps brought restaurants right to our homes. The whole culture of eating on the road shifted. People stopped eating where they happened to pass by and started eating where it was quickest. The diners, with their sit-down service and community feel, stayed right where they were, rooted in their towns. But the people, the cars, the very flow of the country, they moved on. The world sped up. And in the rush, many of these timeless places were simply left behind. It's a quiet story, not of failure, but of a world that changed its route. So, why did the costs for these classic diners start to spiral out of control? Well, a big part of the problem is their age. Many of these beloved diners were built decades ago. Think about it. Small kitchens, old-fashioned layouts, and just plain aging buildings. As time went on, the requirements for running a restaurant got a lot stricter. We're talking about new health codes, accessibility standards, and a ton of other regulations. On top of that, the costs for maintenance, utilities, and necessary upgrades kept climbing. And here's the real kicker. These changes weren't optional. To update a diner, you'd have to close it down temporarily. But closing, even for a short time, meant zero income. Many diner owners were living month to month, just trying to make ends meet. They simply couldn't afford to shut down their operations to modernize. So, the buildings just got older. They needed constant, expensive repairs. As the costs rose, the profit margins got thinner and thinner. It became a vicious cycle that was incredibly difficult to break. Now, let's talk about how our own habits changed the game for diners. These places were built for routine. They thrived on regulars coming in for breakfast before work, grabbing a quick bite during their lunch break, or having a late dinner after a long day. It was a predictable, steady stream of customers. But over the last few decades, the way we eat has completely shifted. Our eating schedules became irregular. We started snacking more, skipping full meals altogether, and cooking more at home. Dinner out became less of a daily routine and more of a special occasion. For a business model that was designed for daily customers, this shift was devastating. A diner can't survive on rare, occasional visits. The menu and the service model stayed the same, but our behavior didn't. The very foundation of their business, the loyal, daily customer, was disappearing. It wasn't that people stopped liking diners. It was that diners no longer fit into the rhythm of our modern lives. So, why do some diners still stand today? Like stubborn holdouts from a bygone era? It's not just luck. These survivors didn't just hang on. They adapted with incredible precision. They understood that the world around them was changing, and they had to change with it. First, let's talk about tourist traffic. Diners located along popular travel routes or near tourist hotspots often found a new, consistent stream of customers. People traveling want a taste of classic Americana, and these diners delivered exactly that. They became destinations in themselves, not just a place to eat. Next is local loyalty. The diners that survived often had deep roots in their communities. They were more than just restaurants. They were neighborhood hubs. Generations of families grew up going there. The owners knew their customers by name. This fierce loyalty created a protective bubble, shielding them from the harsh winds of economic change. These weren't just businesses. They were institutions. Then there are selective updates. The smartest diner owners knew what to change and what to keep. Maybe they updated their kitchen equipment to be more efficient, added a few healthier options to the menu to cater to modern tastes, or started accepting credit cards. But they kept the core experience intact: a friendly service, the classic decor, the comforting food. They balanced tradition with practicality. Ultimately, these survivors all understood one crucial thing. The diner itself wasn't the problem. The environment was. The highways changed, people's eating habits shifted, and economic pressures mounted. The diners that recognized these external shifts and adjusted their own systems accordingly were the ones that made it. Those that stubbornly refused to change, clinging to a past that no longer existed, quietly faded away, one closed door at a time. This story isn't just a nostalgic look at old restaurants. It's a powerful lesson in how any business survives. It all comes down to three key factors: movement, costs, and habits. Movement refers to how people and goods travel. When new highways bypassed old routes, the movement of customers dried up for many diners. Costs are the expenses of running a business. Rising food prices, higher rents, and increasing labor costs squeezed profit margins until they vanished. And habits are the daily routines of customers. As people started craving faster, healthier, or more diverse food options, the traditional diner menu became less appealing for their daily meals. When these three fundamental elements shift, even the most beloved and familiar systems can begin to fail. The diners that disappeared weren't necessarily bad businesses. They were good businesses operating in a system that no longer supported them. Understanding this helps you see the world differently. You can look at any business, from a local coffee shop to a giant tech company, and ask the same questions. How is movement affecting them? Are their costs sustainable? Are customer habits working for or against them? This is how systems shape the world of business that we see every day. The successes and failures are rarely random. They are the logical outcomes of systems in motion. If this video helped you understand business and systems a little better, please give it a like. Share it with someone who might find it interesting, and subscribe to Money Pulsar for more insights. Thanks for watching. Just a quick reminder, this video is for educational purposes only. Some details may be simplified for clarity. Always do your own research before making any financial decisions.